It takes a little while. Okay, and let's see. So I pulled it up on my phone to make sure it worked. Okay. So it takes about 30 seconds to buffer in, um, but it is now okay. Okay, so I'm going to record this for audio as well on GoToMeeting. Um, so I'll start that recording. There we go. So that I'm going to collapse, and then I need that. There we go. We're ready to begin. You can, once we hit 6, you can call us to order. All right. We did not receive any public comment via email prior to the meeting, so, and there's nobody here in the room with me, it's just me in the room. So yeah, I don't have any public comment for you today. Okay, so any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, all right, hold on, I just lost my controls. I'm trying. Oh, there we go. Mhm. So, Okay, so changes from when it went out on Friday. We had some payroll for basketball referees, picked up some drain rock. We had a Cascade Orienteering Club. They had regional orienteering event they were going to do in the park with COVID. They had to cancel, so they are. I issued a refund for that. Um, we had some tractor parts, a triathlon parade permit with the county. Um, and then I just purchased today a couple of flash drives for staff so that we could start to work from home if necessary. Just getting prepared for future potential shutdown, or if people are able to work from home. That is what the governor has been directing people to do: is if you can work from home, work from home. We're going to try and do that as much as possible while still keeping the office open and keeping the park open. If they go into a full-on, shelter in place, stay home kind of thing, we will probably end up, having to shut down the office for sure and block the gates of the park and leave it at that. But that's the differences. And Peggy did send out all of the vouchers are in your email, so you have all of this listed there. The signing on this now, you just need to email back. Email. This is going to be the one instance now where you can reply all to an email from the park district. So I want you to reply all, put approved when you once we've voted and it's approved. You need to sign that way. That's how you sign the vouchers. We will then forward that to the county. That means nobody has to come in and sign vouchers physically. We can just send them electronically. Um, so that's the process we'll take, but so we will need a motion and an approval as a vote, but you will approve, you will sign by replying all to that email. We need a second. All right. So when you guys get a chance after the meeting? Yes? So we haven't really discussed. We are going to make sure that somebody is in the office. I know Peggy has said that she would work from the office. I will work in the office if nobody else can be here. I will come down and be here and do that. Um, this would this has been such a and we can kind of get into that now because we're getting into staff report, but so this has just been such a whirlwind week and a half. We did have the announcement that we sent out. We did have another announcement regarding canceling of programs. um, we are doing everything we can to comply and do the right thing and not be, um, doing something that's going to endanger anybody else. We're all healthy, fairly young, not in the high risk category. So we're all kind of doing what we can do for other people. I don't want to infect anybody else if I get infected or transmit or anything like that. So I think what we've seen is a huge nosedive in people coming into the office. There are not many people that are coming by to register. They can register online, but a lot of people have put a hold on registrations anyways because they're waiting to see what happens. Um, we will, yeah, we'll either work out a rotation or we'll, if Peggy just wants to come in and work in her office, she can do that. That's not a problem. If we get to the point where we do have to shut down and send everybody home, that's what we got the flash drives for a couple of us to be able to take copies of documents home. They are significantly sized. I think they're a terabyte flash drive each. So we could each take home basically every document that we have on our share drive and have that available to us remotely. Um, the other thing that I would look at doing is trying to give our two, because four of the six staff really, Carrie, Peggy, myself, and Tom, we have stuff that we can do at home. Our two maintenance people, I would probably assign them some stuff to do with grant applications, like researching online for amphitheater construction or amphitheater design or swimming pool items that we need some information on, or trail construction, anything like, stuff to kind of do that they can do at home to keep them employed, to keep them working, and getting some benefit from that while we have to all sit in our houses and not go out. I'm hoping we don't get to that because ideally, I'd like to have our guys in the park cutting the grass, keeping everything looking nice, and have people be able to come out and do this. This would be outside forces telling us, yeah, everybody needs to go home now. And I'm hoping not to have to cross that bridge, but we'll get there if we get there. So that's kind of, sure, go ahead. Mhm. Right. If we can. If we can. I mean, and that's really going to come down to the directive from the powers that be. I mean, if the governor's saying everybody needs to stay in their house and don't go anywhere and don't go out for any reason other than to go to the grocery store, then we shouldn't be telling our staff to come in and cut the grass. It is a natural progression. It's already happening in San Francisco to a certain extent. So if we get to that point, we have to follow that directive. We can't say, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're just going to come in and cut the grass. Um, we have to follow what the directive is. If the directive is only essential, I'd probably reach out to our risk management people, our legal, uh, the service we have in the Municipal Research Services Center, and just say, what does that mean? I mean, can we have our guys come in and do essential maintenance? Can we have our guys come in and do cutting the grass? That kind of thing. It depends on the definition of essential and what is allowed as to how much we can have the guys do. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to have us be able to have, the guys come in and just get on the mower and come in and cut grass and make sure for when we get out of that scenario where everybody is allowed back in the park, we don't have this curve where we have to get everything back in shape. We are keeping it in shape the whole time. That would be the ideal. Um, but it really is going to depend on what our governor and our government, our state government tells us we have to do. Um, so far we've on the island have been fairly fortunate with cases and with infection and transmission, but this is going to keep coming. It's not going away. So it's something that we're going to have to be prepared for. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. Good. Um, Other things. Let's go back. Go away. So, I also talked to, with regard to this, I'll get into that in a different one. So we have canceled programs basically and pushed programs. We haven't canceled everything. What we did was we have shifted some programs back by 2 weeks to kind of see where this falls and what happens with this. Um, we've seen a stall in the registration on the triathlon as people are waiting to see what happens. That's in July. We're still hopeful. I'm hopeful that we'll get through this quickly, but we don't know yet. So we're playing a wait and see game and trying not to just across the board cancel everything. We're trying to make it that we can offer these things once we get to the point where it's safe for our community to do that. Um, so we've got some statuses on programs and what we're doing right now. Facilities and grounds, we've increased our cleaning. We're using virucidal, staphylocidal, germicidal product that's listed to kill pandemic influenza strains. We wiped down doors, stalls, handles, everything. I have put out in every notice that I've sent out that we are increasing our frequency of cleaning. However, people should assume that any surface that they might have touched may be contaminated because we don't live in a sterile environment. So we want people to be aware of this, that there is a risk. We want people to come and use the facility. I've also talked with our community user groups, and basically Governor Inslee shut down youth sports, everything to do with that. So we've slowed that and basically said, guys, you know, unless you have something that's an essential activity, you need to talk to me about those. Anything that's non-essential, you should be not congregating. That all went out on Monday. Our storage building in the maintenance base is finished, and county gave it its final approval, so we're starting to use that. And we're starting to use the space of time where we don't have user groups using our fields to do some repairs on the fields, so that's good. And we're wrapping up some tree pruning and hazardous tree removal and that kind of getting into our normal aeration, top dressing, overseeding type activities for the turf. Um, I've been working on committee meetings. I've been working on getting things done. We just had a trails committee meeting with Matt and Jennifer at 5 today. We've met with Whidbey Health, with Matt and some members of the Foundation Pool Committee. We are continuing to work on site plan review. I have received a waiver of retroactivity for the Waterman property purchase, and the cultural resources study is complete. Appraisal should be done very soon, I'm assuming, unless something with the virus delays it. And then I've got some quotes on getting the review appraisal done. Then we should be really close to being able to sit down and sign papers and purchase the Waterman property. So that's really the staff report. Any questions on that? Okay. Um, should I move on, Josh, to comprehensive plan programs? Okay, so campground. We did have a campground committee meeting with Drew Coombs of J. Brennan and Associates. We've assigned some tasks on the site plan review response. I've met with all the county officials, and once we have the maps and other documents back from J. Brennan and myself, we will have them reviewed by the fire district, the sheriff's office, and the school district for comment. And then we'll get everything together and take it back to the county. Just received word when I was writing this last week that the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant level may get all the way down to the list to encompass the Campground Phase 2 project. So what does that mean? That means right now we were expecting that the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant from last year, from last cycle, would get down and cover the the Waterman property purchase. It may get all the way down to cover the campground phase two project, which would be a grant of 452,700. So we would have to match that with dollar for dollar. So I think when we wrote the grant, we had hoped to get the WWRP local parks grant to be part of that match. We didn't get that. So we have literally no match for this. Um, and that's kind of a discussion item for you guys. My thought would be that right now we probably don't want to be going to our community and asking them for money to do something like this. I think it would be the wrong time. I mean, to put it on a ballot, we'd probably have to be in August at the earliest, and it probably is not with the coronavirus, with people, you know, not getting paychecks and such. Probably not the right time to push for that. So my thought would be to recommend to you guys to say, hey, look, um, I'll contact RCO and just say we're going to forego this. We don't have match, and we can't go to our community at this time to ask them for that match. It's unfortunate. It's a really great opportunity, but I think that right now we've got enough on our plate getting the campground going with the funds we already have, to add this to the list, as well as to try and ask the community for funding would be really, really hard. But that's my recommendation. You guys can discuss that. Correct, we could. Hmm. So that's a question I've asked. I reached out to our grants manager, Allison Delvo, today, and I said, with all this going on right now, our grant timeline's changing. Currently, they are not. So we would be applying, I believe it has to be in sometime mid to late May. Technical review would be early June. Final review is August. Our final presentation is August, and then we wouldn't find out till usually they release the lists end of August, September sometime, if I'm not mistaken. But all of that could be up in the air. They could come back and say, you know, anything at this point. They could, you know, push it, say we're going to leave it and not do it this year. They could say we're going to stick to the exact timeline we're already on. Keep in mind, though, that we still would have to come up with 10% local match in some shape or form. That could be work, that could be volunteer, that could be dollars. So we would have to come up with 10% of the total project, um, whatever that project was. We could go to simply a preformed bathroom shower building. They sell those, so we could just bring that in and then just attach it to water and septic and go with that. That would might be cheaper, but that there are some options there. I just we're in a really uncertainty. I can continue to look at it and we can try and, see how far we can push that out and see if we can match that. I could talk to Allison about that and I've made a note to give her a call already on that. Any other thoughts on that? Okay. Um, sure. Okay. Okay. So then, anybody else? So the total grant. Yeah, it would likely be, I mean, you're probably looking at 452.7 when we put that grant application in, and we can alter that, right? We can say we don't need 452.7. We could say, you know what, we're gonna only do it, we're gonna make it a smaller project, we're gonna do a prefab building, we're gonna drop that in there, it's gonna be a bathroom shower facility, we're gonna look at, the septic, the water, power, and it's gonna come in at, like, I think the total grant we applied for with the two grants last cycle was just over $1 million, because it was 452.7 with the Land Water Conservation Fund, another 452.7 with WWRP local parks, and then probably another 100,000 in local match. And that was a variety of different things. So that's what we'd be looking at. We'd have to drill down into it and really look at it again for this grant cycle and grant application. And Matt is right, it would be a much more attractive grant application knowing that we have already a secured land and water conservation fund grant. So it's something that we don't, and right now that we don't even know if we have it. I was told it may get there. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. That could change with our, current crisis too. Federal dollars could be reallocated and taken away from that program for this year to help deal with it. So we don't know what we're getting yet. We just know that it's a possibility, and I wanted to raise it since we're having this meeting. So I can keep it kind of on the table for right now. Not say yes, not say no. I don't have to take action at this point. And if I do, I'll just start taking action. And if we ever get to the point where we're like, no, we can't do it, we can axe it. It doesn't hurt us to keep it going. I could start to rework that. Yeah, that would be something that and that I can do from anywhere because that's a web-based program, so that's not a big deal. We can sit down with the campground committee and start looking at that again and maybe rehash it down to going, okay, well, maybe we're just doing a cement regular shower bathroom building with, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, and try and go for that. So I can I believe it's in May. I'd have to look at the exact week. I haven't looked directly into that. I only reached out to Allison today thinking about this and going, okay, so grant applications, is that calendar changing? Because it's difficult to get quotes from businesses right now on work when you can't, go and look at things. And So it's going to be tricky. So we'll see what happens. I believe it's closer to the end of May, so we'll probably have two, but we can get together with the campground committee and put something together fairly quickly. And like you said, Matt, it's already in prison now, so I don't have to. I think I might even be able to just copy that and do a whole new application and just update it. I'll look at that and see what it takes. But Waterman property, we do have the waiver of retroactivity. We, I wrote up on the LWCF grant all of the forms that need to be done, and they were in, and Allison had received them and acknowledged that everything was good and that was all going in. Cultural resources has been completed on it and is now being circulated to the tribes. The property appraisal should be done next by the end of this week was what he told me, but it may be delayed. I'm assuming that that might delay it a little bit. And then we will have to do a required appraisal review. Um, so we're getting really close to getting that on the table and ready to be signed. On March 10th, Matt and I, along with Marnie Zimmerman and I believe it was Megan Scudder from the pool committee from the foundation, met with staff at Whidbey Health regarding possible collaboration on a swimming physical therapy facility. My impression was that the meeting was positive, that they were interested, very interested in proceeding and working with us on it, and just wanted to look at financial numbers. We had talked about coming back and revisiting it in about a month with them. My guess is with things that are going on now with hospital, that probably will be delayed, but we will certainly keep that conversation going. Matt, any comments on that? We did talk about the Bayview property, and we talked about possibility of them contributing that, and we talked about them being involved as a renter. They were interested in the whole concept. We had some really good conversation about, having, the equipment for physical therapy be in that bigger learning pool, therapy pool, so that it could be used, but it would be priority for physical therapy, really making it almost a kind of almost a destination physical therapy place because it would have everything that you'd want as a physical therapist. So there was some really good conversation. They were open and very interested. Matt, any other thoughts on it from that? Okay, good. We did have, just now, before this meeting, Tom, Jennifer, Matt and I met as Trails Committee. We looked at some future plans at Trustland, which I will pull up here. We also talked about the overall linked trails network and revisited that, which was really uh, very beneficial, and revisiting the idea of the boat to bridge trail. Okay, why are you not doing anything? Come on. All right, so it's not coming up. Okay, and it's not doing anything. Interesting. Hold on one second. Minimize that. Minimize that. Okay, where are we? There we go. Let's try this again. Okay, so looking at trust land, we talked about some thoughts that Tom and I had had in walking out there over the winter. Looking at everything here in red is a proposed trail. So we are proposing down the western side of the property to bring a trail off the existing, what was the existing out and back trail, and bring that all the way down, following the contours, um, to intersect with the trail that Tom and his crew just created this winter. That was one. That would be, in our estimation, a trail constructed with the mini excavator. This trail here is basically, this section here already really exists. We would tap into that, and that could be a single track trail just to kind of connect that loop back around. This here, this loop, and again, these are concepts, not drawn to scale. This loop would be added on to where the spur trail that goes off to the overlook would go into this area. Would have its own little overlook here that would overlook the stream and get us to be able to daylight that. That one may have some county permits required because we'd be going into a wetland with the trail, a wetland area or a wetland buffer, not a wetland itself, because we would be overlooking where the stream was. So that would this whole trail would probably require some consultation with the county uh, critical areas people and making sure that we did exactly what needed to be done and that we weren't causing any issues. So we talked about those. Both of them like the ideas. We need to take them to the public for review. Again, we're not starting construction on any of these. These are simple concepts at this point. We're trying to get farther ahead this year when we have time to be able to look at all of this and have the community come in and comment, go out and flag it, have the community comment on it again, so that when we do get to the winter time, when we do our trail construction, we're ready to move forward. We're not trying to squeeze all this in last minute. So those are the ideas. In conjunction with that, in the outreach, I wanted to talk to people about our volunteer trail steward program. This is mostly a person coming in to just walk the trails, make sure if they see trash, maybe they pick it up. If they see vandalism, they report it to us and we go out and clean it up. If they see a tree down, they contact us, we go out and chop it up, and they might be kind of a works crew to create single track trails on a work day, with our supervision and our cooperation and collaboration. So just trying those kinds of things. And then we had a great discussion about the ongoing trail plan for the Links Trail Network, which is something that we've talked about going to grants for. The grants are difficult. Does everybody aware of the boat to bridge kind of trail idea? Yep, you are. Not yet, but it should be coming any second. There we go. Now I see it. So, Matt, you want to, this was, so the yellow there is the county kind of concept boat to bridge trail that follows the 525 corridor up the island. They've been working off and on that. I'm going to reconnect with them. There is no actual trail constructed in any area of that, except there is some in the Freeland area. Um, that just past where that star is, there is a section that's constructed. Um, the spurs, Matt, you want to talk about all of that? Okay. So we did talk through all of that and looked at some of the challenges. Okay. And looked at some of the challenges that we have with that. They they are there are a few challenges that we run into with going after grants and doing that kind of work. It can be. Mhm. Okay. Artificial turf. We had a good meeting. We had a rep from South Woodview Soccer Club, Ultimate Frisbee, and the community game in attendance with Matt, Josh, myself. We discussed the grant applications and demographic information. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Josh. I had muted myself and forgot to take myself off mute. Artificial Turf Committee meeting. We met on March 10th at 4. We had representatives from U Soccer, Ultimate Frisbee, the community game in attendance with Matt, Josh, and myself. We discussed possible grant applications, including Cal Ripken grant, Cal Ripken Senior Foundation, Community Sports Development Council grant, as well as WWRP local parks, youth athletic facilities. We asked the user groups really to look for additional grants that might be something that they could bring to the table from their area, and in addition, provide demographic information on their group, i.e., ages, number of participants, because all of that information is going to go into any grant application that we go after for an artificial turf field. Um, we did have some discussion about monitoring the school district facilities committee with Eric being on that and looking at what they do. There are some grants we can apply for that might work in collaboration with the school. A lot of them, the ones that we have with the Recreation Conservation Office, the youth athletic facility, and the local parks would require that the field be made available. If we did something, if the school did something at the stadium, which I believe is a topic of conversation at the school district, that might, we might not be able to be fully involved in that. We might be able to help in some way, but not get some of these grants, or they wouldn't be as valuable. Uh, what is that? Is that coming? Somebody needs to mute. Okay, so that was Clinton Community Council was the last one. Uh, Josh, Jennifer, you want to update us on that? Yeah, that was that was probably about 5, 6 years ago because it was really close to right after I got here. Um, and, and just, for everybody to know, it's my 7 year anniversary with the district today. So, I think, yep. Mhm. Well, it kind of, in my mind too, it's kind of a question that you guys have to ask yourselves and taxpayers and what we're doing here because these are parks that were purchased and provided by the county. So the entire county tax roll is paying for them. If we're taking them on, we then are going back to our community and saying, hey, these were county parks and now they're going to be our parks. We either need to get some sort of dollars from the county to operate them, or we need to go back to our constituents and say, yeah, this is going to cost X number of dollars more. If you want us to take these on, this is what it costs, and add that to our M&O. We've got a lot of property, and it takes time to mow those things. It takes time to maintain them. It's going to take time to be over there. We already are mowing at Lone Lake. We're getting out and doing maintenance at Deer and Goss. Can we add those on? Yeah, but it would probably add staff to our list because we're going to have a crew that goes out there and do that. Mhm. So Eric, those are county parks, so the county goes and does that work. So we don't do any, no, no, we don't have anything to do with that. No, we don't go there. We don't empty the garbage. We do Deer Lake, Lone Lake, and Goss Lake. We do trust land trails. We do our community park and sport complex. That's it. So this would be, yeah. Can you mute, hey, Tom? Can you mute yourself? So, so okay. Anything else on any other committees that people have attended that they wanted to voice before we move on to the new business? Yeah, and that's something that we're looking at and trying to get done. The issue that we're running into is we can't get hand sanitizing stations right now. Um, so we're looking at all sorts of things. We're trying to do this as best we can, and I think everybody is struggling the same way we are. It is, nobody, you know, nobody was ready for this, and we're doing everything we can to keep our public informed and letting them know. And we are cleaning, and Tom's crew is doing an incredible job out there of making sure that they hit those bathrooms and clean them, and they're disinfected. We've got signage up there about, making sure that you're washing your hands and all that kind of good stuff. So we will certainly be continuing to look for hand sanitizing stations, and if we can get them and they don't cost us an arm and a leg, we'll put them in as soon as we can. Okay. All right. Parks and Aquatics Foundation Memorandum of Understanding. So this was in your board packet, and this is regarding putting together a memorandum of understanding with the foundation to talk about and kind of put on paper how we're doing this going forward. What with the aquatic facility? Okay. Um, I read through it. I really didn't have a huge issue with anything in it. It's very general. It establishes who we are, who they are. It talks about the facility and what's in it. Um, you know, the only thing I might add is where it says office space for operations staff, I would add in operations staff for park district staff. Because if we are building a facility, we should put our administrative building in there as well, have offices for our staff. And we did include that in the drawings that we have is, hey, if we're building something, we're gonna put our office in it. And we're gonna tell the county this facility here that we rent, they can take it back. If we're going to build it, it should incorporate that. That would be one thing I might add. Um, but even this, it's just a. Go ahead. Hmm. It's bigger than what we have. It would incorporate the five. You said five offices, correct? So so Peggy had her own. I believe she had her own kind of registration front desk office space a little as well. So, right. Yeah. So five. So five offices. Yeah, you can have a break room. You can have a break room. Yep. No, and so what we were looking at is we have currently three office personnel in our office. Tom and his crew would stay on site in the park. They wouldn't be there. So you have three office personnel. You've got an additional, and you're looking at six, I mean, I think it was six offices. I was looking at a pool manager, a lesson supervisor, maybe, some other people like that, like a swim team coordinator or something like that. So three or four more, just kind of ballparking it and putting that together. So the conference room, all the staff offices are included in the layout that we put together. So I don't know that we need to call that out in the MOU. I was just saying that it doesn't state that our current staff would be in there, and that might be something we want to add. Okay. Um, And then it talks about cooperation. We currently share the same vision for development of the project. All parties agree to fully cooperate with each other at all times in realization and development of the project. I don't know if we need the word fully. I don't know if that does anything to it, but we agree to cooperate at all times. I think that's fine. Um, I really, I didn't have an issue with it. The only thing that I changed when I sent it back to Marnie was she had the address of the property as the address of our current office. Our property address was different. I had them change it to 5495, which is the address of Community Park. So I would say I would be okay with you guys going ahead with this. I don't have a real issue with it. Um, just adding in maybe that, office space for operations and park district staff. And send it back to them and say, yeah, we would be okay with this if you guys are comfortable with that, but you tell me what you think. Hmm. I'm with you. Any other comments? Okay, I'll take that back to them and have them make those changes, and then we'll bring it for signature at the at the April board meeting. Okay, that's all I have. Okay, okay, so yeah, reply all and make sure your name is in there as you would sign it and that you say approved, and then we can pay vouchers. That's all I have. We can adjourn if there's nothing else. Josh? Okay, there you go. Thank you all. Be safe.